Hey, this is Steve Loomis with Walking That Mile. So it's been a couple weeks since this board meeting, and this board meeting was on September 10th of this year. And unfortunately, of course, that was the day that Charlie Kirk was shot and killed. And so a lot has happened since then for me personally, and I think for a lot of people, for the country, definitely. And I guess it's really fitting that this board meeting this night went the way that it did. And I really want to highlight Mr. Orr talks, Miss McCormick talks, and then Nick Blanchard talks, and then what's his name? Gunslinger. He's on X as Gunslinger something. So he talks, and a number of people talk on this evening, and they forget about the rules. They forget about the arbitrary rules that Muffy is trying to enforce. They go ahead and talk, and when she tries to shut them down, they don't let it happen. And she is starting to realize that her castle is crumbling for sure. And it's nice to see. It's been 9 months that these guys have been fighting for this. The board members who are strong and who have advocated through the proper channels and gotten nowhere now are fed up. As you'll hear Mr. Orr here, I'll start off with him. His speech, just kind of to start off the meeting, at least what I want to discuss here. But
next is board member comment and or discussion on non-agenda items. Mr. Orr?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to try to lighten the tone, but first, my condolences to the family of Charlie Kirk and the members of Turning Point USA because of the shooting and his tragic death that happened a few short hours ago. Again, good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of the nationally recognized Augusta School Board meeting, which I would like to coin as an old-time soap opera I refer to as your stomach turns, to change it now to as your constitution and board policies turn. Just to recap, over the last 8 months, the board chair has successfully stopped the public from speaking that she didn't agree with through a subjective, biased, and uneven application of the rules by having them arrested for criminally trespassing, which the DA dropped the charges, to just saying derogatory or defamatory remarks and letting the individual's time run out, while at the same time denying the topic of the Trump executive order on Title IX that needs to be talked about.
Mr. Orr,
both of which are in violation of the
You missed the pre-meeting, and we did discuss our code of ethics this evening. And one of the items on the code of ethics that we have that perhaps you missed was, I will make no disparaging remarks in or out of. I'm sorry, but if you're noisy or comments from the audience will require you to be removed. So I ask that you keep your comments to yourself until I'm sorry, but if they're going to have, you'll have your opportunity. We have an agenda item for that. So I just wanted, Mr. Orr, I refer you to policy BCA. We will call a recess and we will remove audience members if you continue for outbursts.
Not leaving. Anymore. We're done.
Just don't mention that. Do I need to call?
So, Mr. Orr, I just want to say I will make no disparaging remarks in or out of board meetings about other members of the board or their opinions. That's in the code of ethics for the board. I just wanted to remind you of that.
It's only disparaging, Madam Chair, if it's not true.
Please continue.
Both of which are a violation of the Constitution, in my opinion. the First Amendment for the public and Title IX as we continue to allow for discrimination in our schools by allowing boys into girls' bathrooms, girls' locker rooms, and yes, that includes PE or gym classes, as well as play in girls' sports. In our most recent subcommittee meeting on Monday, September 8th, the chair decided to have a RFP sent to potential board attorneys, although we've had a relationship with one of our attorneys for over 20 years, simply because she did not like their opinion, or it didn't go into a thorough analysis. Somehow, miraculously, it was added onto this night's agenda, even though those board committee members had not even had a chance to talk about it during the finance meeting. It was posted to us as an agenda on the 5th of September, and the policy meeting we had to talk about it, what was supposed to get put on there to agree to, was on the 8th of September. Meanwhile, in the policy meeting, at the very end of the meeting, when asked by Policy Chair Fortunato, what would we like to have in our next meeting's agenda, I said that I would like to have those policies that I had asked for during this very meeting last month while I sat in this seat to be added on, which are a violation of Title IX. A debate began where it was said by the policy chair that Title IX or any policy could only be brought back up if something changed, and that is not true. And so I will go and read policy BG-R. The board's policy committee is charged with reviewing and recommending all new policies and policy changes to be considered by the board. Individual board members, board subcommittees, the superintendent, and members of the public may submit policy suggestions and concerns directly to the policy committee. It does not say anything in paragraph 1 that says there has to be a change to any policy that we have. It only says that an individual board member, myself, who happens to also be on the policy committee, I asked for those items to be brought onto the committee. So during the policy committee, together with the chair, this is number 2, will be responsible for reviewing and researching suggestions for these new policies, policy changes. The policy committee may seek and ask the superintendent to provide information such as, but not limited to, the specific need for the policy, the fiscal consequences of the proposed policy, like losing title money from the federal government, the potential effect of the policy on the instructional program, staff, students, and the community. Samples of the policies on the same or similar subjects, applicable provisions of state and or federal law and regulations, and the anticipated costs and benefits of implementing, enforcing, and monitoring the proposed policy. So paragraph 2 clearly states that during the policy committee meetings that we are supposed to have, the subcommittee meetings, this is where we are supposed to bring up anything that is changed or anything that has to do with anything that we decide to bring up into a policy meeting. There's nothing in there that says anything about cannot be brought into because there's a change or not a change. So again, what they said was not true, and was shortly echoed by our board chair, which again is not true, and continued on for a few minutes. But you, the public, would never know this, as the video strangely ended before the meeting actually adjourned officially. It was brought to my attention the board had made an agreement to continue the motion for a recess when the hoorah happens. This discussion happened during the pre-meeting back in that back room last month that I did not attend. None of these pre-meetings are recorded, and with a majority of the board present and making these board decisions without it being recorded is a violation of board policy, and I also believe it constitutes an illegal meeting. But on a serious note, and this is directed to every tax-paying American citizen in Augusta. In my opinion, the chair's continued violations of the First Amendment will potentially and at some point lead to the Augusta School Board and possibly the city of Augusta being sued for the chair's actions. The board chair, as well as the policy chair's lack of following board policy BG-R and having the conversation and following President Trump's executive order on Title IX, will more than likely lead to the Augusta School Department losing the federal funding, including those of Title I through IV, which has mostly been allocated already. How will the Augusta schools afford such a loss of funding, especially to those parents and guardians of special needs children? How will we pay that back? Well, potentially by having to ask the Augusta taxpayers to pay more money, since it appears to be a much easier path than to drop the identity politics and follow Title IX, which protects all children, especially the girls. This is an 80-20 issue, and common sense realizes that biological sex is different between a boy and girl. I could ask for the chair to resign with no support from the majority of this board. But we live in the beautiful United States of America, which I defended for almost 24 years and still remember my oath I gave then. And we are in a representative republic backed by the will of the people. So I ask all of you who are residents of Augusta, do you want to see this craziness continue? And by this craziness, I mean this being a broken school board due to inept leadership that will potentially lead to costing you more money. Or not. Please come to our meetings. Email the Augusta School Board, all of us. If it goes individually, chances are everybody will not hear about it. And let your voice be heard about the chair resigning or not. May the will of the people be heard and followed. Thank you. Episode 9 will begin.
Susan?
I just want to say that I found those derogatory statements about our chair offensive and inappropriate and in violation of the board code of ethics.
Any other comments from board members?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Orr, you had your opportunity?
say again?
You had your opportunity?
I only have one opportunity. It doesn't say that I only have one opportunity.
Okay, what would you like to say?
I would like to say that once again, it's only derogatory if it is not true. Thank you.
Any other comments from board members? Hearing none, we'll move on to public comment on non-personnel agenda items. Did I have anybody sign up for that?
Okay, so Mr. Orr made a number of points there. So they had a meeting, a policy meeting back, I don't even know what. I think that was my last video on this. So whatever date that was, I'll have to pull that up. But they fire a DC, I believe, law firm had contacted the school board and wrote out everything that they're doing wrong that's in violation of the First Amendment. And that only went to a number of board members. It went to Mr. Orr. It went to, I can't remember, maybe Stacy. And it went to, I know that Muffy, Miss Witham got it. And then Miss McCormick also got it, but didn't get it through the direct channel. So they go through the whole policy meeting. Nobody brings this thing up, so Miss McCormick brings it up and says, hey, we've got a law firm that's telling us that we're in violation of the First Amendment in a number of areas here, and they spell it out. You know, they're a law firm, so they spell it out very well, articulate it, case references, and they are a nonprofit, I believe. they offered free legal advice to get them into compliance as far as the policies and the behavior that is in violation of the First Amendment. And that wasn't shared with the rest of the board. I think they all kind of wanted to, the ones who knew about it. I'm not sure, Mr. Orr knew about it. I think he thought that everybody else had it. And maybe it wasn't time to talk about it. The superintendent had it, the board chair had it, and then they kind of were scrambling because they were caught. They had not sent it out to the rest of the board. And they had egg on their face for sure. They looked like buffoons, but that's not new for these people. So that was one thing. Apparently, I did in that board meeting. I did see the video cut off at the end, and I thought maybe that was time or whatever. They just cut it off, and it turns out they cut it off because they then were also gonna do this side meeting that was not recorded, that they didn't want the public to see apparently, and that some members of the board were not even privy to. So it's pretty interesting. It's even more underhanded and shady than I thought. But like Stacy Fortunato, I think is how you pronounce her last name. She mentioned what Mr. Orr said. She said that he couldn't bring up any issue unless there was new evidence or new information or some ridiculousness, that he couldn't bring it to the board to have it revisited because there needs to be new stuff before you can do that. And he found out that that's not true. And that they knew that that was not true. And so there's a lot of underhanded, shady stuff going on here that I didn't even realize. Of course, most of the board is very left-leaning, and so of course they don't mind having, they actually probably champion boys being in girls' sports, boys being in girls' locker rooms. I'm sure that they all champion that, which is sick and sad, and of course it goes against Title IX. But that's what they've been fighting against for better part of a year, close to a year, I think, from my own personal knowledge about this, and I'm half the country away. So those are a number of things that he brought up that I know about, that I saw, and they're getting to be tired of it, which is awesome. So he's not going to get shut down. This whole ethics, whatever, not disparaging, that's like Muffy's word, disparaging remarks. This vague thing that she can enforce whenever she wants to. So she even tried to enforce it on Mr. Orr. And he's like, yeah, it's disparaging if it's not true, but everything that I said is true. So let's get into the comments, because these are fiery too.
Says for public participation at board meetings. Board meetings are conducted for the purpose of carrying on the official business of the school system. All meetings of the Augusta Board of Education are open to the public. The public is cordially invited to attend and participate in board meetings as provided in this policy. Although board meetings are not public forums, the board will provide appropriate opportunities at its meetings for members of the public to express opinions and concerns related to the matters concerning education and the Augusta Board of Education schools. The intent is to allow a fair and adequate opportunity for the public to be heard while ensuring that the time allowed for public discussion does not interfere with the fulfillment of the scheduled agenda. The board will designate a portion of its agenda as an opportunity for public participation, and that is this item 22 on tonight's agenda. The board, members of the public may address the board within the guidelines provided in this policy. The chair will be responsible for maintaining proper order and compliance with these guidelines. And that will include, please do not approach the dais unless you have permission from the chair. Citizens and employees of the school unit are welcome to participate as provided in the policy. Others may be recognized to speak at the chair's discretion. The chair may limit the time allotted for comments on a particular topic, as well as the time for each individual each individual may speak. Tonight, that will be 3 minutes. During the time set aside for public participation, the chair will be responsible for recognizing all speakers who must identify themselves as they begin talking. Speakers are not permitted to share gossip, make defamatory comments, or use abusive or vulgar language. All speakers are to address the chair and direct comments or questions to particular board members or the superintendent only with the approval of the chair. Again, questions must be addressed through the chair. No complaints or allegations will be allowed at board meetings concerning any person employed by the school system or against particular students. Personnel matters or complaints concerning students or staff issues will not be considered in a public meeting, but will be referred through established policies and procedure, and that policy is KE, if any of you would like to take a look at that on our website. The chair has the authority to stop any presentation that violates these guidelines or the privacy rights of others. Persons who disrupt the meeting may be asked to leave, and the chair may request law enforcement assistance as necessary to restore our order. With that said,
Point of inquiry, Madam Chair.
yes?
Madam Chair, the inquiry I have is you stated that as you were reading policy BEDH, that it says in there that nobody is allowed to approach the dais. Could you tell me where that says that? Because
That's actually from Robert's Rules of Order.
it's not in Robert's Rules of Order.
I believe Mrs. Parks had a conversation that it is.
I believe I'd like to see proof of that.
Anyway, it's,
I know that was a suggestion that was made during the policy meeting, but it was not approved. We hadn't made any changes on the
it's
policy.
my understanding from having a conversation regarding Robert's Rules of Order, it includes that.
Yeah, this is an interesting little tidbit. So they talked about it in their policy meeting, but they didn't approve it. They didn't make any changes. So now for her to all of a sudden read that in, I feel like she read some additional things. You can't make comments unless you ask her. She's almost changed. It almost seems like she's changed this a little bit just since last meeting. But it's also funny that she mentions Robert's Rules of Order, because in one of the previous meetings she didn't know what Robert's Rules of Order were, and that's fine. I mean, these are volunteer people. You might get paid a little bit, but they don't know everything when they get elected. I understand that, but so now she's quoting that this whole approach to the dais thing, and I know it was a concern. I think Nick put a flag up on the dais. It was no harm, no foul, but they got worked up over it. So
Moving on to make sure,
Madam Chair, maybe we ask the parliamentarian to look in the Robert's rules to see if it says that?
We're gonna peek at it. We're gonna look at it right now.
I just Googled it real fast, and it does say, under Robert's Rules of Orders, a
Excuse me,
member,
Madam Chair, I'm asking the parliamentarian, who is the superintendent who is supposed to know the Robert's rules and look things up.
I don't know all of them, Mr.
understand,
Orr.
but
So
you have
just,
the book.
we're gonna do just
may I
what
please answer your question?
Mrs. Fortunato just did.
Stacy has the answer
Thank
to
you.
the question.
Under Robert's Rules of Order, a member generally should not approach the dais or the chair to speak. Instead, all communications must be directed to the presiding officer from the member's seat, maintaining order and preventing personal interactions. This practice ensures all remarks are for the benefit of the entire assembly and avoids private conversations.
Moving on,
Evening. My name is Michael Miranda. I live in Augusta, Maine. I sent an email to a friend of mine, James Orr. I was later notified that he was not allowed to read the email to the board for me. Board, with all due respect, my daughter is not going to the schools because of the fact that you prefer politics over education. What you do on a regular basis to Nick Blanchard and others who speak out against you and policies is ridiculous. I served my country for 23 years in the military to preserve your right to free speech. Okay?
I might not agree with it, but I'll die fighting for it. You work for the people of Augusta, not the other way around. You are public servants, lest you forget that, and an embarrassment to our community. You have forgotten who you work for and the people of this community. Feelings are not facts, and violating someone's right to speak at a board with rules and subjective calls on unconstitutional policies on what is disparaging and what is not, in my opinion, and based on the First Amendment of the unlawful and egregious. Remember, we vote. Your actions are no different than the shooting that we saw earlier today at Charlie Kirk. You cannot silence free speech. You cannot kill the idea no matter how hard you try. Just a fun fact from Data Book, all right, Maine ranked 41st out of all 50 states. Are we in a race to the bottom? This is disgusting. And you expect me to send my daughter to the school system. You have failed us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Nick Blanchard. Mr. Blanchard?
Nick Blanchard, Augusta. I'm going to start off tonight by, so I know you just told everybody they couldn't approach the podium, but this is putting you on notice. So he's going to be giving you some documents that.
No, I'm sorry,
well,
you have to,
Approach the dais, please.
what is it that you want to pass
I'm
out?
putting you on notice
Nicholas Blanchard.
about the rules.
May I-
Do you know what the Augusta Charter is?
Yes, you may.
Okay, well, you should look at section 3, Article 5.
Thank you.
About not responding and what happens to that,
Thank you.
especially Rita, Charles, Stacy, Muffy. Apparently, the only person who knows how to respond to an email is Mr. Tracy over here. I guess you guys been hanging out with Hillary Clinton or something. I don't know. But
You start this time.
I don't know what's going on with this, but that is an official notice about what could happen to you potentially about not responding to your constituents. I'm gonna start with saying that. Second of all, I want to start by saying that Maine, well, not Maine, Coney, where would you think we ranked in Maine as far as schools? We're 60 and 110. That's the high school. The middle school is 89 out of 119. Why are we so focused on gender and not focused on teaching our kids or trying to get to the top? You talk about that trip. You mentioned federal funds. Guess what happens if you don't comply with Title IX? No more federal funds, Miss Muffy, which means no trip. Second of all, did you guys get the email from Fire? Did she actually send that to you guys? Because I know she held it back from the rest of the board. Did you guys get that? Because I also got a copy of that too. So I can approach the podium and give that to you guys too. Fire, you said you didn't have no idea who that is. Well, Fire is one of the top law firms in the country for First Amendment. The fact that they're emailing you and offering free help, they're putting you on notice.
Yep.
You're going to cost this district and the Augusta taxpayers a lot of money by doing what you're doing. Or you could just step down. Because honestly, that's probably the best thing for this district. And honestly, this board. Because you're supposed to be representing everybody sitting up there. And you didn't send that email to nobody. You held it back. Katie had to bring it up. And then you just rushed through. You guys were so quick to try to change the rules. You guys spent how many meetings talking about this stuff instead of talking about how we can improve our test scores or how we can improve all this? We're talking about public comment. We spent months on this, right? And then you decided not to change anything. Why is that? Because you knew you were in the wrong, and it's still in the wrong. It is still wrong. But you did all that to get us off of Title IX. Because you know what? Guess what's still going on in this school? Boys are still allowed to go in the same bathroom as little girls. Oh, they're going to call for a motion? Yeah,
Your time is up.
that's fine. I'll be back.
Thank you. Next is Kelly Smith.
Kelly Smith, Ward 3, Augusta. Chair, members of the school board, to quote a great man whose life was stolen from him today, if you believe in something, you need to have the courage to fight for those ideas, not run away from them or try to silence them. With that, I yield my time to Nick Blanchard.
I'm sorry, but we can't unlock, we don't, no, we don't. I already looked into it.
You've already
Mr.
set this, President. Go ahead, go to executive session, 'cause I
Mr.
ain't leaving.
Mr. Blanch,
You've already set this, President.
Madam Chair, we have,
Get big-eyed.
according to, we
Yep,
can't.
You've done it. You've done it before.
yeah, do we have,
What's happening?
Robert's Rules of Order, you can't yield like
You've done it
that.
before.
I looked it up, Mike.
No, you haven't.
do you want me to look that up? Take a second to look it up?
Look it up, look it up.
It was either in policy.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Why don't you take a recess and let him speak?
No, go to executive
Just
session.
to look it up.
Look it up. Go to executive session. Cry about it for a minute. Oh,
I'll let you speak if there's
Thank
enough
you.
time at the end of the
oh,
meeting.
thank you. I'll be back again. Don't worry.
You can step away until the end of the meeting if we have time, because we actually have a time limit on how long our meetings can be.
We didn't
No, we
declare
don't.
that.
No, we don't.
Point of order.
We were here till 10 o'clock one night because you guys went into executive session like 4 times
Hear that?
talking about that.
I don't have to yet.
Yes, you do. She means if at 9:30, that's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, if we're
That's
still
what
here
I
at
said.
9:30,
Katie, I'll run the meeting.
Well-
Thank you.
then explain.
If you let him get it over with, go with it.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. See, was that so hard?
Mm.
That hurt?
I got it. Yep.
You okay now? Good. All right. So speaking of that, when we were talking about, when I came in, I spoke about how we came in here and we sat all night till 9:30 and had to wait here all night. That was because I didn't get to say what I wanted to say. We don't care about coming in here and listening to the good things that you guys are doing in our school. It's the fact that when we sit here and you guys make us sit here all night, then when we get up here and immediately open our mouth, you kick us off the damn podium and we don't get to say anything. That's when it's a problem. That's when sitting here all night to 9:30. I don't mind public comment being at the end. I really don't. I'd like to see or hear the good things that you guys are doing. I mean, if there is anything, because like I just said, where is Coney ranked in Maine right now? We're in the bottom in both middle school and high school. We're too focused on what someone identifies as. You know, I emailed about furries. I know, Mike, you said that there's none in the school this year. The year just started. But I know several parents that have reached out to me that their kids were disciplined because of this situation last year. Am I wrong? I know for a fact that one of them was kicked off a bus because one barked at him. How would you like it if I sat up here for 3 minutes and just barked at you guys? Am my kid supposed to deal with that? And so my kid says something back and that's harassment, and then he's got to go through some kind of course or whatever you guys think to not bully a kid that thinks he's a pet? Like, what are we doing? Where is common sense here in Augusta? You can laugh, but it's the truth. You got kids walking around with cat ears and a tail thinking they're a cat. And parents that send their kids to school is the problem. You can laugh all you want, but that's not acceptance.
Madam Chair, excuse me, I think he's supposed to be speaking to you, to the board.
Is supposed to be speaking.
I'm speaking to
you.
everybody. I'm just looking in that way. I'm speaking to you guys. I'm just looking at her. But seriously, you guys can deny all this stuff. And then, like, we're not allowed to come up here and make disparaging remarks or call things out, but you guys ain't responding to emails. And I know for a fact the reason why you guys won't respond to my emails because you know I'll post it on Facebook and X, and you know that it'll get attraction. And you guys don't want to be the clown of the show. But you know what? How easy it would be for you guys to be heroes and actually stand up for what is right and do the right thing and change course completely.
Seconds.
It wouldn't be that hard. Stop letting boys and girls' bathrooms comply with Title IX and let parents get up here and speak. It's not that hard.
Your time is up, Mr. Blanchard.
So I had the pleasure of speaking with Nick Blanchard a couple of months ago, and I've spoken to him. I interviewed him, did a little podcast segment with him, and then I've spoken to him a couple of times on the phone after that. And if you see him up on the podium, you know, he's a little bit worked up sometimes, and rightly so. But he he is fighting for that school. He's fighting for his kids, man. I mean, he is not going anywhere. He's like, I love it in Maine. Like that, I'm not. It would be easy to just pick up and leave and go somewhere else where they don't do all this ridiculous stuff. I didn't even know about the furry thing. Like, holy shit. I had no idea that that was also a thing that they were dealing with. And to know that they allow the kids to act like dogs or cats or whatever, and then to punish another kid who's like, you're acting crazy, like this is ridiculous, to then punish that kid and tell that kid that they need to shape up and take some sort of course or whatever to deal with the nonsense that is going on in this school district. It's crazy, but he has been up there at every meeting for the last year just wanting to be heard. And he got shut down so many times. Disparaging remarks. Muffy shut him down so many times. And he's still here fighting. He's fighting for the kids. Like, he's vocal, but he's trying to do what's right for the kids when a lot of parents aren't. And it's not because they're bad parents, it's because they know they're going to get shut down too. And it silences people. A chair like Miss Witham stops people from going to board meetings, stops people from saying what their concerns are. And if you're not strong-willed, then you just get kind of rolled over, and your kids get rolled over too. And I think a lot of the kids in the Augusta School District, at least for the last year, whenever they just, flipped, it's probably been more than that. Whenever they flipped and decided that they were going to let boys pretend to be girls and be in girls' spaces, those kids are getting steamrolled because there's nobody in authority that is willing to stand up for them. And so much so that this board goes behind each other's backs to set up things so that they can stop people from talking and make up this bullshit like Stacy did about how Nick Orr couldn't bring forth an issue to have the board look at it without new information, which he found out was total BS. You know that that's planned, and so that is deep. I mean, the rot is deep. And I don't know a couple of these board members, but Stacy and Susan are on board with Muffy. Like, they'll go down with that ship for sure. The woman as I'm looking at the board, the woman to the right of Muffy absolutely would also go down with them. Miss McCormick, Katie McCormick, and James Orr are the only two that I know on that board that are trying to do what's right, that just have common sense, that are just normal people trying to run a normal school board without all the nonsense. And so it's 2 against the rest of them. And unfortunately, the superintendent, he made some comments just now that were clearly pro, free speech or whatever, letting Nick take somebody else's time because there was past precedent to that. But he clearly doesn't know or doesn't want it known that the whole free speech thing, as far as this policy BEDH, like, I'm 1,200 miles from Maine. And I know that policy because I've looked at this so many times. And you might ask, why, and I've said this before, why, Steve? Why, Steve, do you care about Augusta, Maine, when you live in Minnesota? Why do you care about this board so bad? Because it's a cancer, and it's a cancer that spreads. And if we allow it to take hold there, which it has taken hold, and we are trying to rip it out, we are trying to excise it. And if I can help in any way, that's what I'm doing. Nick Blanchard is the big one in my eyes as far as public doing it. James Orris is doing his best. Katie McCormick also doing her best, but like Miss McCormick, she's gone in December, I think. So yeah, it's really frustrating to watch this, and I don't even have kids in that school district. Like, I don't have any of my family who is directly involved in this, and it is so frustrating to watch that it just keeps going on, and I keep learning new things. Again, like these side meetings, these shady deals on the side that they shut the camera off last meeting. Holy shit. That's crazy. It's crazy that they're doing that at this level, at the, a school board in Augusta, Maine, that they're doing this. It's crazy, but we need to excise this, and that's why I'm trying to get as much attention on this as possible. Let's go on to the next speaker here.
Maguire Tice.
I am Jane McGuire Tice. I live on Ward 3, and I believe that disdain for free speech is the reason for the assassination today of Charlie Kirk. And I give the rest of my time to Nick Blanchard.
We go. I'm going to call for a recess.
Yeah. I didn't catch that woman's name, but she's spoken a few times. Just, pretty soft-spoken, but I really appreciate that she gets up there, and she's said a number of times that she thought that the way that the board is running the show here, it's shutting parents down. And so I appreciate her. Now they're going to stop, I think, because they don't want Nick to have a third.
You don't need to.
Bye. Not yet, bye. Want to go that way?
Taking a break here.
Recess and revisiting the guidelines in the policy. The policy states that each person is given 3 minutes. And yes, in the past, before I understood exactly how these meetings were going to go, I did let somebody cede. And I let you have extra time this time. I'm not giving you any extra time, Mr. Blanchard, this evening.
I'm not
Pardon?
having extra time. I'm not having extra time. I'm having per minute.
That's not allowed.
3 minutes.
I'm sorry, it's not allowed. I'm asking you to step
Take
away.
another 3 minutes. Go back in executive
I'm
session.
asking you to step away.
Any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in
I'm sorry, you're not, it's,
severe
Just
consequences
listen to it for 2 minutes. Everything will be fine.
for sex discrimination.
I'm just taking the 3 minutes.
I'm going to ask our security.
Credentialing body for teachers. We will promote positive education about the nuclear family.
Thank
The roles of mothers and fathers.
So if you notice, that guy's a security guard. He might be working an overtime shift and be local law enforcement, but in a security position right now or something like that. But he's a security guard. They actually had law enforcement at these meetings, I think, very consistently, and they arrested somebody in January or December because that man wouldn't yield. He was pissed because they weren't listening to him or something, and so he was up at the podium for an additional really arbitrary amount of time, like 15 seconds, and they called the officer who was in the room over there, and they arrested that guy. And I think that was a bad arrest. They didn't charge him. The local prosecutor wouldn't follow through with the charges, but they arrested him. I don't know if the guy sat overnight or if they just booked him in and released him. But so that's a bad deal. That's pretty tough on your your cops when you're doing that kind of stuff, because they're stuck. They should know that that's probably not going to fly, and you shouldn't arrest right away on something like that. But they did. They arrested him, and they're going to have to face that if they ever actually get sued for this stuff. So just from watching all these videos, these meetings, I think that they decided, hey, maybe we should go with a security guard. And he talked to Nick there, and he talked him down. No big deal. Didn't make a big show of it. Nick didn't either. He backed down. Nick got a second round of time. He was offered a third round. He can see that Muffy is completely losing control. And I think that's advantageous. So I think that's good.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Wendy Lee McDowell. I live on Cross Street in Augusta, and I'm absolutely horrified at the way you guys spend my tax dollars and the fact that you're considering 2 building projects on schools when our schools are like the pits. It's not number 41. We're like 48 in the country. Our kids can't read and they can't write, and your concerns seem to be on all this nebulous, hokey-pokey, fun and fairy stuff instead of what the bottom line is math and English. Our kids can't read. We're graduating kids who cannot function as a checkout cashier at the Big Apple. And I'm embarrassed for Maine. I'm embarrassed for Augusta. And I'm horrified that you're even considering building new schools. That's it.
Thank you. Rhonda Snyder.
My name is Rhonda Snyder. I'm an elected official in Kennebec County and serve the residents of Kennebec County as the Register of the Probate Court. However, I am here tonight in my personal capacity. I am here to give my opinion, redress my grievances with the government, and I dare you to violate my constitutional rights tonight. I want to discuss, as I said, my grievances against Ms. Witham, as well as to the lemmings who are unthinkingly following her into the abyss of serious financial repercussions for violating citizens' constitutional rights. I exclude both James Orr and Katie McCormick, who understand the jeopardy in which Ms. Witham is placing the Augusta Regional School Unit. I've written a lot about the First Amendment, and I wrote for a YouTube channel with 1.5 million subscribers, so I am very familiar with our constitutional rights. The First Amendment consists of 5 elements: freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of protest, which is also the redress of grievances, freedom of press, and lastly, freedom of speech. It's not just about free speech. Based on my observations of these meetings, I have seen an astounding number of constitutional violations relating to viewpoint discriminations, violations of free speech with bans on defamatory comments. This is a viewpoint discrimination. Let's see. Banning abusive language, which is subjective and is another example of viewpoint discrimination. Banning vulgar language and swearing. These words are acceptable to say in any public forum, and I suggest you all read the landmark case of Cohen versus California, which set forth our constitutional rights to say fuck, shit, piss, and anything else we want in public. Jeez, you scared me. So it appears to me that with Miss Witham has her heels dug in so far into her position that her ego will not allow her to take the legal and appropriate steps to make the school board policy come into compliance with the Constitution. She had a rare opportunity from Foundation for Individual Rights and Freedom. FIRE, along with the Institute for Justice, are the two premier constitutional rights organizations in the country. They offered to fix the school board policy and help them make it compliant, free of charge.
Your
And the
time is
fact
up.
that people are ignoring this and not taking up on their offer is ridiculous.
Your time is up, ma'am. Tim Bodnar?
My name is Tim Bodnar. I'm from St. Albans, Maine. And in light of what you said, fuck your rules. Your voice matters. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You're not trustworthy. You arbitrarily and capriciously enact rules that you'd like to do, just at your whim. Why watch all your policy meetings? And shame on you. Stop telling this woman that this is limited speech. Yes, it's limited to education. This is a public forum, ladies and gentlemen. And if we talk about education, we can say damn well whatever we please, and you better get used to it. And you need to take this policy and take it back to the policy committee, because it went there because of the problems, and you think clamping down more on speech is a good idea? What are you, out of your mind? What do you think you're going to do, like people and me and Nick? We're going to come back here again and again and again, and we're going to say, you can't do it this way. We're going to do it some other way. You know what? I didn't bring any props tonight. I didn't bring a flag. I'm not going to approach the dais because it makes you uncomfortable. But I'm going to ask you when that timer goes off to let me finish tonight. Because one of ours fell today, Charlie Kirk, and you won't even stop to have a moment of silence for him. So I will. And the reason we're here, the reason he's dead, is because you keep clamping down. He was in the middle of answering a question about whether or not the transgender shooter might have had something to do with all the hormones he was pumped up with, and he was assassinated, murdered. You know how many times I've walked in this people and I've heard people say, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. Fuck you people. I don't feel safe from you and your ideology. What you pump into these children, what you fucking teach them. Okay, listen to me. What you teach them, okay, is creating them mental confusion and problems. And we're talking about Title IX. We're supposed to be talking about education like that lady says. But then we're talking about chicks with dicks in bathrooms. Then we're talking about free speech issues. We're off in the ditch. Listen, this place, you better figure out who fire is. I put this at a 9th grade level for you. I went into Grok and said, because apparently you don't understand college English, people. Okay? You can't be arbitrary and capricious. Okay? You can't ban stuff unfair, have neutral comments and now nice ones, but not criticism. You can't ban defamatory comments. You can't be the arbiter. And to be more subjective, you're out of your mind. You need to be more objective. It's not your responsibility to make sure the school doesn't get sued. That's way above your pay grade, lady. Okay? You don't have the brains to do that. That's what lawyers do. They figure out defamation. It's all right here. Okay? You can't ban my abusive language. You can't ban vulgar. You can't ban obscene. And this certain crap that you're putting in there about protecting all the LGBTQs and the fuzzies, the furries, and the shit I can't talk about up here. Oh, boy.
Your time is up, sir.
No, it's not. Okay? This is a letter. This is a letter that, don't touch me, man. I'm done in a minute. This is an office of the Attorney General, Pam Bondi. She said this, and I'm going to read these things, and I'll be done, sir.
Sir.
I'm going to read them, and I'm going to be done, sir.
If you don't leave, then we're going to go recess. So
The First Amendment guarantees the right of every citizen to speak freely and peaceably petition the government or redress of grievances, including at public school board meetings. These rights do not yield to political trends or bureaucratic convenience. While schools must maintain order, such authority cannot be used as a pretext to silence, disguise, punish parents for expressing their views. Equally troubling is the rise of abusive conduct by government actors against parents exercising their constitutional freedom. Please make copies for everyone. And that's officially, make copies for everyone's official request.
I don't know when the next meeting is, but hopefully it's interesting. He might be the last. I'll check here. So there you go. Quite a meeting. Quite different from the meetings that I've watched in the past. Of course, Muffy being able to shut people down and send them on their way. Nick especially. Nick was pretty passive up until recently. He walked, when he was told to leave, he left. He's not a troublemaker. He's just trying to do what's right. He's trying to do what's right for the kids. Like that woman said, he's trying to stand up for the kids that a lot of adults won't stand up for. And I don't know why. Like, how can you be scared? How can you be scared to protect the kids from the truth? From things that are just known, reality, that kind of stuff. Mental health issues are huge, but just treat them like mental health issues. And we've gone down this terrible, just the abyss of gender ideology, and apparently even worse than I ever thought was going on there. So, and now they're realizing that they can take control. The people have the power. They can take control. She can't shut them up anymore. She can't shut them down. She can't shut them up anymore. All these things have helped, right? Fire contacting them, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, I think is what it's called. The attorney sending them an email with all the reasons why everything they're doing is illegal is probably a huge one for them. And then more people got up on this night, on September 10th, 2025, unfortunately, the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, just a couple hours before this meeting. Way more people got up and spoke, and a couple of them I think talked about how their kids are doing great, and the rest of them said free speech is an issue, gender ideology is an issue, because they're so focused on that the kids are failing. Kids can't read and write, can't do math. And Nick brought up a great point that I guess I'm so deep into paying attention to this that I didn't notice. They spent meeting after meeting after meeting just trying to revise the public comment policy. They spent so much time just trying to figure out how to revise that, and really to even clamp down on people even more. And it should be public comment. It should be, you need to address the board. You have 3 minutes, and that's it. That's it. Those are the guidelines. I have to cut you off after 3 minutes because we don't have any more time. But I played the entire policy that they read, and now Muffy apparently threw in all her additional things that she wanted to. Obviously, she said chair a lot, so you got to go through the chair for everything. And the comments are true. She is digging in her heels. She clearly doesn't see that it's an issue. I don't know if she just knows that she's going to crash and burn, and she just can't back down, can't give in, and is just going to let it happen and go down fighting and go down in a huge ball of flames, or what? Or if she actually thinks that she can win this and she's right, and she's been backed for this whole time, right? Like the superintendent's like, yeah, it's a business meeting in public, and it's not actually, it's not First Amendment free speech. It's public comment free speech, whatever the hell the difference is, And anyway, things are turning for the good. I hoped that things would even go faster, especially after fire contacted them. But that's okay. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and you can see the people are making their voices heard, and that's fantastic. And so, I'm really glad that I get to be a part of this. Whatever little bit that I can contribute, I feel honored that I can be a part of contributing to this. Like I said, this is a cancer that needs to be excised. We can't let it go. We can't sit idly by and watch and hope and, wish that it'll change and pray that it'll change, and just, I'll wake up someday and everybody will realize that gender ideology is a bunch of bullshit, and that free speech is a thing that we need to protect, but we can't. So we need to keep talking about it. I need to keep doing my part to keep these people who aren't doing the right thing, are not in a position doing the right thing. They're not there for the right reasons. They're not acting for the right reasons. They're doing it for themselves. They're doing it for their own ideology or whatever. And I need to do my part in keeping this alive, as far as even if I get 50 people to see it, that's 50 more people that then would have seen it before, and that's perfect. I just need to keep pushing. And if everybody does that, then we're gonna win. We're gonna finally shut all this nonsense down, but we can't stop. And if you, like I, noticed a huge change, man, besides a hole in my heart that I didn't realize was going to be there when Charlie Kirk was shot and killed, besides that, realized how much he meant to me as far as his speech, his way of approaching things, his way of talking to people, his commitment. Besides that, really surprising, what's amazing, comes from the ashes, is everybody's rising up and they're showing up to TP, USA events in droves. And Michael Knowles went to the University of Minnesota and sold that out. That Charlie, something that Charlie Kirk was supposed to go to, Michael Knowles took over and sold that out. And we saw Megyn Kelly the other day, and at his official memorial, like 200,000 people. Wow, that is amazing, and it's awesome. And it shows you, just like when Trump was elected, the silent majority, there's a majority there that has stopped being silent and is done being silent, and we're done. Things are going to change, and we just got to keep pushing. But thanks for watching. Steve Loomis with Walking That Mile.